Happy Wednesday, and thank you for joining me for this Draw Along episode. We were off for a week because of the Thanksgiving holiday here in the United States, but now we're back to do some drawing together, and I'm glad that you're here to do it along with me. So I hope for those of you who did have a little break, I hope it was a good one, and I hope you were safe, and I hope everything went well, and I hope you have a pencil and a paper listen to me, a piece of paper, or maybe a sketchbook, or maybe your mom's favorite dress that you can draw on. Don't tell her I said that. And we're going to do some drawing together. So, as usual, we're going to kick it off with a draw along, and then we're going to do a nice little art tip for you today about feet, of all things. And then we're, of course, going to finish things out with a request from the audience in the animal and activity game, where you will suggest to me an animal doing something funny, something crazy, something weird, and I will draw it in the time that we have remaining. Now, I'm going to do something a little different today when I start out the show, and that is to talk about your drawings, okay? A lot of people watch this show, and I think they're watching because they want to get a little bit better at drawing, and that's great. Drawing is a skill, and it can be learned, just like playing an instrument, or learning how to dance the cha-cha, and it's great to want to get to do it better, but here's the thing. Each and every one of you is going to draw differently from one another. You're going to have a unique way of drawing, and I want you to pay attention when you're doing your drawings to how it is that you draw that's different from other people, and see what it is about the way you draw that you like that's different from how other people draw, because that's the thing that sets your work apart from everybody else, and it's the thing that can make it special. Now, some drawings we could say are objectively very good, right? They're good no matter how you slice it. They're just technically excellent, great representational art, whatever, okay? But there's a thing about drawing that's really interesting, where a drawing can be maybe not that objectively good, but it can do something else that is great. And I want to show you an example of that. So I want you to take a look at this drawing here. Turn this on. Now, I'm sure you've seen this character before. This is Marge Simpson. Now, when I look at this drawing, I want to ask you, is it an objectively good drawing? Well, I would argue not really. I mean, she doesn't even have a connection between her shoulders to the trapezius muscles, and she has no collarbones. If you want to look at just pure anatomy, her arms and her shoulders come straight out of her neck, okay? And there's no chin to speak of whatsoever. Her eyes are looking in different directions, okay? There are no eyebrows whatsoever. There are all kinds of strange issues with this. But let me ask you this. Is it funny? What is the purpose of this drawing? Is this character funny? Does she have a ton of personality? Do you love to just look at her and laugh? Does she make you laugh? Well, that is the point of this drawing. The thing about Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, about his art, is that there's something baked into these drawings that is purely Matt's style. It's Matt's way of expressing himself, and it's the way that he has drawn these characters that makes us love them and makes us laugh. And if he had abandoned that and tried to be technically perfect with everything that he drew, well, then we wouldn't have the Marge Simpson that we have today. And I thought, just for fun, I would show you an example of what would happen if someone like myself would try and draw a character like Marge Simpson. Now look at the difference. Mine is not nearly as funny. We still see the same elements. We have the beehive hairdo. We see the eyes are wide open and the smile and all that. But it's just not the same character, because I'm not Matt Groening and I don't draw that way. So anyway, I wanted to just start the show off today a little differently and ask you to think about that with your own art and latch on to the things that you like about it and that make it different, and keep those with you at all times, because that's going to make your art special, and that's going to make it really nifty. And speaking of art, I wanted to ask you a question. What does Salvador Dali eat for breakfast every day? A bowl of cereal. Alrighty. Now, it is time for the You Draw It. So, let's say hi to some folks in the chat while you get your materials together. And I want to see who's here today joining us for this You Draw It. So we have Clever and we have RB. Hey, gang, nice to see you. And Sam and Ariana and Hamza and Steven and Calixta and Mercurial. Hello, and nice to see you this morning as well. And who else did I miss? I missed them both. Kimberly, nice to see you. Sorry if I missed anybody, but let's get cracking. All right, today we're going to draw an animal. All right, we haven't done that in a little while, so let's get started on that. Now, you're going to want to start with a straight line. Remember, with this show, there are 3 things you have to be able to do. Straight line, a zigzag, and a curvilinear line. It could be a C curve, an S curve. Okay, if you can do those things, you're good to go. Now, to start it out, we're going to do a straight line. Just come on down like this. Down we go. All right. And let's leave a little space right there and draw another one right there. See that? They're parallel. Okay. And I'd say the amount of space I left in there is about 1.5 times the length. 3/4 the length of the actual line that we drew. So here's the length of the line. I go about 3/4 that length over this way, and then I draw the other one. It's kind of a good way to think about the distance there. Now, a really shallow little C curve down here. Okay. And then we are going to draw a line like this. Alrighty. And then we're going to draw a little line up like that. So it's like an upside down letter T. Okay. And then another one across. So now it's like we made a sideways H, basically, right? And then we just come straight up and straight up like that. Okay, not bad, not bad. All right, now I want you to leave a little space at the top of this line here and draw a nice big dot like that. Same thing on this side, symmetry, symmetry, okay? What could it be, what could it be? All right, now right here, I'm gonna do another C curve, C curve. And then a little diagonal line there and a diagonal line there. Should I zoom in so you can see that? Everybody see what we're doing here? Alrighty. Now, we are gonna do a really big C curve up and out this way. And the best thing to do is to give myself a target. So I'm gonna look at this eye that I've drawn. These are eyes here. And I'm gonna come out about this far, okay, and just make a little dot. I always like to give myself these targets. So my C curve is going to come out just slightly past the dot and then back in to connect. Watch this. We go out and in like so. Now for symmetry, I want to get that same space over here on this side. So I'm going to come out, give myself a nice little dot to aim for, right? That's always helpful. You know, I feel like I have to push that out just a little bit more, don't I? Should I come out a little bit further? Maybe out to about there? Does that feel about right to you all? And we're going to come up and out, or in this case, down and back, because I am left-handed, and it's easier for me to draw a curve coming back down that way. All right, and if you feel like you just didn't nail it, go ahead and do it again. And if you didn't nail it, go ahead and do it again. And if you didn't nail it, go ahead and do it again. And if you didn't nail it, go ahead and do it again. All right, just kidding. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, gang. That is not the point of these drawings. All right, now I want you to look at the center of our drawing here. Okay, imagine that you're just tracing a line straight up the center. And here, right about where, between the two eyes right here, see this? I'm just gonna make a teeny tiny little line like this. Boop. Look at that. And then I'm gonna make a little bit of space right here and jump up a bit, and I'm gonna make a little dot for myself, okay? And what I wanna do is sort of like a letter M, or like the wings of a seagull, okay? And I'm gonna leave some space here. So again, give yourself a nice thing to aim for. So I'm gonna imagine that this curve just keeps on going, okay? And then put a little dot right there. I can imagine this one keeps on going, put a little dot right there, right? This is a good technique, folks. Just give yourself targets. And then I can do those two C curves, which are basically like a letter M, right? Or gull wing, if you wish. 1 and 2. And now here comes another C curve. Watch this one. Curve it out and curve it in. And out and in. Okay. Now, these lines that we drew out here, these curves, I'm going to draw them this way and that way. But look, I left some space there. See that? Because I want to draw a little line like that and a little line like that. Just to round that out. And this gives us our bear head. And what kind of bear is it? A couple of lines here and there. A couple of lines here and there. This is going to be a polar bear, right? It's going to be a bear that likes cold weather. So right under the chin, I'm going to draw a little diagonal line, just like that. See that? Boop. Okay. And here next to the ear, right there, I'm going to draw a little tiny curve. Now, is that a really deep curve? No, it's a shallow one. And this is going to be the longest line of the drawing. We're going to come straight out this way. Now, how long do you want to make it? Well, I want to show you. If I were to look at the distance from this side of the head to this side of the head, okay? And then I would say 1 and a 2 and a 3. So if I take 2 more of those heads, right? 1 and 2, that's kind of what I'm aiming for. See that? So all the way out there, roughly, okay? Now don't worry if it's not exactly the same. And then I'm going to curve down like that, okay? Now, that curve comes from that straight line. It's curving down at an angle. It's diagonal. It's about the same angle as this. And here, we're going to do just some nice little lines to interrupt that line, okay? Now, jumping back over here to the left side, right here, I am going to pick this up, and I'm going to do the same thing as I did here. Interrupt, okay? Just a couple little interruptions there. Why don't we do 3 just to make it the same? 3 here, 3 there, all right? And then I'm just going to carry on with that diagonal line, and it's going to go down, whoop, like so. And then I'm going to do this. Interrupt, and draw a couple more little lines like this. This is like fur of the polar bear, okay? And then here's a little line. And guess what, gang? If you think drawing paws is hard, well, we have a secret today, which is called hiding the things you can't draw. All I do is a nice C curve here, and another C curve there, and guess what we have now? Snow. This polar bear is walking in the snow. We don't have to worry about drawing that foot. Okay, coming back over this way, I'm now going to draw a diagonal line this way. And then just a little bump, okay? And then, guess what? More snow. The tricks we used. There's a little line right there. There's a little space. Okay, there's that back leg. Okie dokie. All right, now coming up from here, we're just going to do a little line like that. All right, so there's the width of that leg, more or less. And you can see that's got a little bit of a curve to it. You can make it straight if you want. Does not matter. Does not matter. Okay. And then here, a nice couple of lines like so. All right, now for the underside, the belly here, all right, we're going to come straight back, but it's going to be straight with a slight S-curve to it. Remember those S-curves we drew at the beginning like this? Okay, so we're going to do that. It's going to be sideways though, and it's going to come kind of down and around. Watch this. Now I need to know where to stop. So I'm looking at where I start this curve here, and I'm creeping in just a hair and coming down from there, okay? And I can make myself a little mark right there. So I kind of know what I'm aiming for. In fact, now that I look at it, that needs to be just a little lower, boop, right about there. Alrighty. So if I could line that up with something, I guess it's just above where these two legs intersect, roughly. All right, so here it comes. We go down and up like that. And then, same thing, more interruptions. Okay, these interruptions help to show, hey, this animal has fur. Little line back like this. Okay, little bump for the foot, and then, hey, how convenient, more snow. See that? Don't have to draw that leg. Oh my goodness, I mean that foot, pardon me. All right, now back here, we're just gonna come down and out, right? Maybe give some more snow there. And then back here, this leg is gonna come forward, right? Same angle as that one. And then more snow and a little line like that. And voila, you have a polar bear. You want to add a couple of little lines here and there for that fur to add a little more texture. Hey, be my guest, okay? Now, as usual, I say make this drawing your own, okay? Put the polar bear in a nice little environment, okay? Maybe put him on an iceberg or maybe a little penguin over. Nope, no penguins. Sorry, Carl. That's, you know what? That's a common misconception. Penguins live in the South Pole, gang. They don't live in the North Pole. Only the polar bears do. But you could draw one there anyway because it's your drawing if you want to, you know, fake it. Who cares? Create your own little world. Maybe there's a little fish flopping around over there. Maybe there's a guy running for his life. You know, do what you want. Let's slide that polar bear over there because it's time for a nice, juicy art tip. Now, I hope you enjoyed that draw along. For the art tip today, we're going to talk about feet very briefly. And there's just one thing I want to point out, and that's this. A lot of times I see people drawing a leg, right? And then they draw the foot. And you know what they forget? The heel, okay? Here's what I want you to think about in the future. Let's imagine that This is the shape of the foot. It's like a wedge, okay? See this? Now, there's my foot. It's connected to the ankles, right? And then we have a nice tube coming up this way. Okay, now, look what's happening here. The foot is at the back, the heel is angling out, okay? Take a look at your tennis shoes, take a look at whatever shoes you wear, and then take a look at your foot. Next time you're standing, just look at yourself in the mirror from profile, and you'll notice that, you know, you got your leg tapers in this way, right? Here's the knee, here we go. And then once you get to that ankle, what happens? That heel pops back, okay? Why? Well, because we have got to have some balance back there, right? I mean, you're supporting your entire body weight. So when you draw a character, even if it's a cartoony kind of a character, right? Draw the leg, right? And then make sure you pop that foot back a little bit. Give it a little bit of an angle there, okay? So that you have a little bit of space. Put some tennis shoes on that person. Whoop. A little bit of space back there to counterbalance what's going on here in the front. And it's just gonna look better, okay? Don't do this. Don't have your foot come straight down and then like this. It always looks like the person's gonna fall backwards and hurt themselves because they have nothing supporting them back here. So just that little bit of a nice pop back, okay, when you draw feet is gonna make a big difference. Take a look at that in your own art. See if you're guilty of doing that and fix it. Okay, gang? Alrighty, so there is your art tip for now. We're going to move on to the animal and activity. And the animal and activity, of course, is where you're going to... Oh boy, I hear something. Oh, it's the appreciation station. Well, hang on a second, gang. What's happening? I forgot about this. Today, we are appreciating Hamza. How about that? Hamza, this is all about you. You know what? It's a good thing that happened because I want to tell you a little quick story about Hamza. I'll never forget the time that you flew me in your private helicopter over that really dangerous part of the Alps so we could get to that winter home that the Tooth Fairy keeps sometimes so I could return to her that extra quarter she left me by accident when I was just 9 years old. So I want to thank you for that really amazing journey, for being such a good friend, for flying me over there and making that happen. And then I got that off my conscience. I didn't have that extra money that I did not deserve because I did not lose 2 teeth that time, just the 1. So Hamza, thank you very much. We appreciate you, and thanks for being a friend. Yes, so anyway, back to the animal and activity. Now this is where you will you're going to suggest to me an animal doing something strange, something funny, something weird, and I will draw that for you in the time that we have remaining, okay? And I'll look in the chat and see what you got. All right, what do we have? Let's see. Sam says, oh, that's how I draw feet. Always start with a wedge. Bingo. That's the trick. Hey, Brooke's here. How's it going, Brooke? Nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Oh, Hamza, you've always got me. I know. That's why I love you, because you're that kind of friend. And also, that chopper does come in pretty handy. Thank you for that. All right, now, give me an animal doing something weird, something funny. Maybe not a polar bear since we just drew one of those, but we are going to draw an animal doing something odd, something funny, something strange, something weird, something fun, and something unexpected. We have from Ariana a suggestion of a butterfly knitting, a knitting butterfly. That sounds cool. From Mercurial, we have a mouse chasing a cat. That's pretty funny. Just turning the tables there, little Tom and Jerry action. A beaver trying to start a chainsaw. That's funny because, they don't really need them, do they? A horse juggling a giant ball. An octopus bowling. I guess the octopus will be able to bowl across multiple lanes at the same time. That'd be kind of interesting, wouldn't it? Let's do the beaver trying to start the chainsaw. Steven, I like what you got there. Good idea. More suggestions are rolling in. They're cool. Elephant holding a shower head. Beaver brushing their teeth, a dolphin reading. I love it. Folks, we're going to come back the same time tomorrow for another episode, so keep those suggestions in mind. Now, got to use my lighter blue color when I sketch, right? Because that's how I do it. So, let's get that beaver trying to start that chainsaw. And here we go. There he is. With his big beaver teeth. And let's get that chainsaw here. And he's going to be pulling that cord, right? If there's a cord in the back or something. Actually, you know, I've never started a chainsaw myself. I don't even know how they start. So I'm going to see what I can do with this other hand. I think I'll put that hand right there. Plus, by the way, gang, I have no idea how to draw a chainsaw. This is the deal. If you don't know how to draw something, you fake it till you make it, right? You say, well, I know there's some moving parts and things like that, and there's like a body, and then there's, you know, the saw part coming out, and it's got teeth on it, right? Bum. You know, I've seen enough movies where there's a chainsaw, and I kind of know what it looks like. So I think that's gonna kind of cut it. Looks good enough, right? All right, now he's got his other arm back there, and he's pulling that, try and get that started. All right, there he is. That's a pretty funny idea. Good one, I like it. All right, got just enough time to round this one out, finish it out. Okay, so we are going to go to the darker color. This dark blue here, that's our animal and activity color. We're gonna knock this back just a hair. I can still see it on my screen, but gosh, gang, I just realized I did that whole sketch while you're just looking at my face. Sorry about that. Oh boy. Well, you can see the sketch. And now you get to see the final. This is the magic. Nobody cares about the sketch, right? Do they? Who knows? Maybe they do. Boop, boop. One eye there. One eye there. One ear there. One ear there. And then here comes that beaver hand. One thing I like about these is they're big rodents, and just like our hamster, we have a sweet little hamster as a pet. I love that they have like actual hands, little hands, you know. There's nothing cuter than watching our hamster try and eat something where it'll just put it in its little hands. You can see the little thumbs and everything. So cute. It can hold stuff, you know? Pretty neat. All right. What is this thing? Some kind of engine, I guess? Oh, gosh. I have no idea what I'm doing. As I mentioned earlier, even though you couldn't see me drawing it, I'm really just kind of doing this whole thing, faking it until I make it. So, and I think that's kind of like what a chainsaw looks like, you know? This is something you can do, is build up your visual vocabulary, right? If I were to just take a look at a picture of a chainsaw just one time, you'd be surprised. That's all it takes is one time. There's so much information I would retain just by getting a good look at it and being like, oh, that's what it looks like. You know, here's a piece here, there's a piece there, and that's how it's put together. You know, that's the way to do it, gang. Build up that visual vocabulary, and gosh, it's amazing how quickly you can build that up. You know, you look at certain artists out there and you're like, well, how do they draw everything? It seems like they know how to draw everything. Well, they just looked at reference, right? They drew it from life, or they drew it from a photo or whatever, and eventually they were in good shape. That's how it works. That is the secret. Build up that visual vocab. Yes, sirree, Bob. Alrighty, there we go. Now, let's get a little action line. Those always help so much. Pa-pow, pa-pow, pa-pow. And maybe even a little, like, I'm trying to start this thing, right? What do you think? That works for me. That works for me. I'll hide this for a moment, give you another look at that sketch. There's that rough that I did, since I did, after all, do that without showing it on the screen. Shame on me. There's our final. We'll move that over here to the left, and we'll bring back our polar bear, shrink him down a little bit. Yeep. So everybody can fit there on the screen at the same time. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Remember what I said up top about your style, the way you draw, right? I want you to think about that. Think about the way you draw and try and find the things in it that you like. You know, everyone's really critical of their work a lot of the times, but I tell you what, you know, look for the stuff you like and see what works and keep it, okay? That's what you want to do. Anyway, everybody take care of yourselves, take care of your friends and family and each other, and remember, please, to be kind. See you tomorrow, same time. Thanks for hanging out.